Week 7 DFS recap. So close and yet so far away. We had some duds, we had some studs, everything else in between. I'm Pete Overzet. This is the portfolio review. We're going to go through DFS lineups on DraftKings, the Battle Royale on Underdog. We'll check in on the new Dawg Bowl qualifiers. Then we'll hop over to some best ball and eliminator sweats. And then we'll wrap up with a little bit of a Monday Night Football preview. Let's do it.
I suffer from a debilitating condition known as atropic chalkitis.
Peter's one of the greatest depositors I've ever seen.
Trust the process. Let's go. Let's go.
I got auto matched with Levitan. This is bullshit.
If I just go the other way in that 66, I win all the money. All the money.
If I had 150 lineups, I'd win too.
Process over results.
Make a bitch go crazy. I don't know which one of these my baby. Bust down AP, close 5 bullets in your head like KD. Bust it, bitch go bust it. And I had 10 pints with me in Russia.
Hey everyone.
Hey everyone. Indeed, the GMs are flowing. What's up, David? What's up, Ashton, Mookie, Lutz, and David, man, I tell you, I can set my watch to gifted memberships from David every single week. I mean, you are Mr. Consistency. And also, I got to give you credit, David, because I believe you said yesterday you won the early only slate. And that's how you know you're a grinder. Getting into those, the slates where there's not a lot of content, getting in there, building your own ranks and crushing. You love to see it. Congratulations again, David. Sean had a good day, finished third in the Daily Dollar, was a Sutton TD away from first and hitting my DBQ Pick Em entry. Ooh. So close. There was a lot of maneuvering on the Courtland Sutton stuff yesterday. I was in second place in the fullback dive, and then that last catch there at the end that I believe was meant for Troy Franklin or Mims. It was meant for one of them, and Sutton kind of swooped in and caught it. Yeah, that bumped me down to third place. There was a lot of movement, I believe, in the top of the BR as well. First place got jumped there as well because of that Sutton catch. Expendables finished 12th in the big DPY. I'm guessing SPY there. Congratulations. I'll be pulling up the SPY here in a second. I certainly did not fare as well as you did. Congratulations. What's up, Chad? My guest on After Dark on Saturday night. If you guys are YouTube members, be sure to go back and watch that one. Very fun conversations with Chad. Your break even is perfect, babe. It's all the other break evens that scare me. That's right. Yeah. No, I did truly. It's not even a bit. I truly did break even yesterday. I remember telling that was one of the running jokes back when I used to do the the Roto Grinders DFS recap reviews. Those ones were so much more raw than these ones. Way back in the day, this was before my YouTube channel had even started. I did them on the Roto Grinders YouTube channel, and I would do them Sunday nights after the slate locked. And I had a bit that my wife was over in the other room, and she would ask me how I did, and I would tell her I broke even, and narrator, I did not break even. I did not break even. I think I probably had a string when I first started doing those GPP reviews, and I'm completely hand building, just totally by the balls. I think I had a streak of 15 losing weeks at one point that year. Those were the good old days. What's up, Steven? Another Steve. What's up here? Easy had his best slate of the season, only played 4 lineups and min cashed 1. There you go. Honestly, I've been thinking I need to scale back my volume on Underdog. The race to get all my volume in. I mentioned it a few weeks ago, getting a little sloppy. I've gotten better about doing some of the entries early in the week. But yeah, I think less can certainly be more when it comes to DFS. Kyle says, kills me how much FanDuel merch you're wearing in that intro. Dude, I have so much, speaking of old school stuff, I have a tub of just old merch from so many different sites, tons of DraftKings, tons of FanDuel, obviously draft before Underdog. One of these days I need to do the equivalent of a garage sale style giveaway of just all my old merch, because other than props for videos, I am never wearing that stuff. So I need to find a way to get that out of my house. Let's see here. Coach says 8x my buy-ins behind a naked Bo Nix and Herbie stack. Great insight, Pete. Thanks. Yeah, the Bo Nix stuff. JM was all over that on Friday. That was the main block. I didn't get to it in my SPY, in my red zone. I did toss a Bo Nix into a couple other large field stuff. And man, Bo Nix just looking like the complete dud of all duds. It was actually kind of a surreal experience for me because we're live watching on the Shipcast. And before the fourth quarter, I decide, hey, I'm going to take a pause from the Shipcast. I'm going to go up, say goodnight to April. The Shipcast, you know, depending on when April's going to bed, overlaps with her bedtime. It's like, I want to go up, read April her bedtime story, say goodnight, and then I'll come back down. I went upstairs. And the Broncos, I think, had scored 0 points. Bo Nix was at like 5 fantasy points. And I come back downstairs and we are in just the shootout of all shootouts. Bo Nix had scored 30 points within the span of 15 real life minutes. What an insane game there for Bo Nix. Matt Martin hit 100x ladder. Congratulations. Sean fell for the Demaryius Thomas tribute day narrative. Yeah, I mean, the Bo Nix stacking stuff was tough. I mean, he did so much on the ground, and then it's just so spread out. Franklin getting targets, Mims getting targets, Ingram, Sutton. I mean, that's just the way Sean Payton operates, too. I think it's made Sutton a really tough play just because he isn't really consolidating volume like he had in years past. Let's see. J Mike says, what was one win from the weekend, sir? I'm trying to remember. We did not go anywhere on Friday. What did we do on Saturday? There was some fall festival we went to. I can't believe I'm like completely blanking on what we did Saturday morning right now, J Mike. That's what kind of rough shape we're in. We went out to dinner on Saturday night, and I've been impressed with April. Her manners at restaurants have gotten better and better. And we have it down to a science now. The second we sit down, we order our drinks and we order April's food right away off the rip. They bring it out. You get April the food going. Then Lauren and I can chill, relax for a little bit. So yeah, I would say a highlight is April being more restaurant appropriate these days, which is nice for us when we want to break from cooking in here. All right, let's see here. Smashmouth Buck says you need to burn one piece of DK merch on stream every day until they bring back the rake free contest. That would be a good bit. Did I see a video yesterday of it was like Jets fans were burning a Bryce Young jersey before the game started? That is still one of the funniest bits just in traditional fandom. The LeBron James burning jerseys. I do wonder what it would take to get in that headspace as a fan of laundry, to the fact you're literally burning the laundry. All right. I think that's enough of a preamble there. Let's pour some coffee and we'll pull up the lineups here. I did not have a good day on DraftKings, but we will look at it nonetheless. Here's some coffee though. Okay. So the Big Spy, I ended up playing the Big Spy in the Big Red Zone yesterday. Let me get my screen shared here so we can see what we're looking at. On the Cram yesterday, we were going through the quarterbacks. We were talking obviously about the top plays, Dak, Mahomes, Jaden. One thing that kind of became clear to me as we were talking through things was that two quarterbacks were going to get squeezed that were on the high end as far as values, and that was Caleb Williams, Justin Herbert. The Justin Herbert stuff ended up being tricky because you definitely would have been happy to get on Herbert, and yet the conventional stacking partners of Ladd and QJ were not who you needed. It was the Keenan Allen and Gadsden stack with Herbert that actually took down the Millie Maker lineup. We can look at that in a second. But I decided I wanted to play the Bears. I talked about on the Cram that I really liked the spot for both DeAndre Swift and the passing game. The DeAndre Swift stuff worked well. He scores 23.8 points at 6.2% ownership. Feel really good about that play. The Caleb Williams to Rome Odunze stack, however, completely flops. Caleb Williams comes in at 8%, 5.68 points. Rome Odunze comes in at 14.2 points, or 14.2 percentage points, 5.1 there. On this team, I didn't have the bring back either, which is kind of funny because I had Chris Olave in some of my other lineups. He was projecting very well, but he didn't show up in this top simmed Caleb Williams lineup. This one had the Breece Hall dud at 23.6%. He scores 7.2 points. This one had Romeo Doubs. He was a one-off I really liked. I wanted access to that Packers passing game. He comes in just under 5%, scores 13.2 points. Michael Mayer, 13.4% ownership, 2 point snowflake. In Bill, in my flex, 30 ownership. Yowzers, 4.2. Broncos defense, 15%, scores 5 points. This is just an awful lineup. I mean, just an absolute awful lineup. It had a pivot, a low-owned pivot, and only DeAndre Swift hit. The chalk all flopped in this lineup. The Breece Hall, the Michael Mayer, the Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, CeeDee Lamb at 50%. Obviously, he was fine and could have gone for 40 if that game was competitive. But this is a really bad lineup, and I have to take the L on this one. You know, the Breece Hall stuff has been like a hot topic of conversation heading into the week. I had a ton of him on Underdog, which we'll look at as well. It was kind of one of those classic spots of, are you going to trust the projection, or are you going to look at this spot, look at the matchup and just what this team is right now without Garrett Wilson and how limited they are. And the ball knowers and the IKB bros certainly win the Breece Hall one. But on the flip side too, like you're thinking about it, no one wants to play Chris Olave either, right? And if Chris Olave flops or underperforms for, you know, the 8th straight week in a row, then everyone gets to say, yeah, see that Chris Olave projection's fake. So I guess my only thing I would say about the, I knew Breece Hall wasn't going to be a good play thing is like, well, then you also were not playing Chris Olave when the projections kept telling us to play it every week because it was going to hit, and then it does hit. So you live and die by the projections. Obviously, in a perfect world, you'd use the good projections and IKB the bad ones. And if you could do that, you could sell rankings and projections for $1,000 a month yourself and win tournaments every single week. So once you guys find someone who can do that, let me know and I will subscribe. But this is just a bad lineup on my part here. First place in this one was actually a Carson Wentz. And it was kind of interesting yesterday how many different ways you could have won. You can see across a lot of these lineups, like to not have any Eagles with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith being the highest scoring wide receivers on the slate and not even needing those in the winning lineup here is pretty crazy. But this winning lineup was a Carson Wentz stack to Jordan Addison, skinny stack, no bring back, Jonathan Taylor, Judkins, Keenan Allen, Wan'Dale Robinson, Trey McBride, Chris Olave, and Browns defense there. And you know it's a good lineup when you burn the Chris Olave early play in the flex here. But man, just all these one-off pieces absolutely smashing. And as usual, Chalktober rolls on. Jonathan Taylor, 30%, 3 touchdowns. Quinshon Judkins, 56%, 3 touchdowns. Also surprising, though, this team didn't have Rashee Rice, who is the other most popular play on the slate. You can see him in the second place lineup. He comes in at 47%, scores 23.2 points. Not even a ton of volume there just because they took their foot off the gas, but they get him that easy touchdown, and he gets the second one as well. But yeah, look at these quarterbacks here. Second place has a Dak team. Third has a Jaden. Fourth has a Bo Nix. And fifth has a Jalen Hurts. Sixth, I was hoping we could get a Herbert there. But top 5 lineups all had 5 different quarterbacks. So just a really high-scoring week, all different kind of ways to play that. Look at third. What is this? Oh, wow. Little Jordan Humphrey. That's how you know you're goated. If you're able to win $20,000 with a 0 for Little Jordan Humphrey. Tell me this person play. You know what? Who was it? It was Shorty. My guy Shorty was on the cram yesterday. And when I was asking for the favorite wide receivers, we do, if you guys aren't YouTube members on the Sunday morning cram, one of the things we do is we go position by position and I ask the chat for their favorite play on the slate. And it's really instructive as far as where ownership steam might be headed, you know, which players might get squeezed, etc. But my guy Shorty always has kind of off the board picks. He said Little Jordan Humphrey for his wide receiver selection. He comes in at 1.2% here. I assume this just has to be entirely revenge game driven. Maybe Shorty can explain to me how you get on Little Jordan Humphrey here at 1.2%. Complete bagel. And yet this team wins with Jaden Daniels, Jonathan Taylor, Quinshon Judkins, Rashee Rice, Chris Olave, Trey McBride, Keenan Allen, Browns D. Obviously, Keenan Allen is like the gigabrain pivot here at 3.9%, and he goes for 31.9 points. But it is pretty funny how this is like mostly a chalk lineup with Little Jordan Humphrey and Keenan Allen in it. Absolutely incredible. Let's see, Expendables, what did you say? Were you 12th? Is this you? Kiss of Death? I thought you said 12th in the Spire. Did you say 8th? What is your handle there? You had, I needed a little more chalk with Olave and Ertz over QJ and Taylor. I don't know which lineup is yours. I thought you said you were up here as well. Will Jordan had 8 targets the week before. There you go. This is you in 12th. Expendables. I thought you said you had Olave and Ertz. Oh, you had, oh, I see. You had, gotcha. You had Mason Taylor and QJ. Gotcha. Yeah. QJ was a bit of a disappointment there. He was a guy I got to a ton on Underdog. I thought he was a really nice play for most of the week. I mean, he was at an ADP of like 33, 34 with that Q tag. Even when he was practicing in full and looked completely good to go. You can beat the Colts downfield. It was just like a good matchup. People are always a little squeamish to play the wide receiver coming off injury. I thought he was a super strong play, but unfortunately, this was a Keenan week. Let's see here. Let me look at a couple other lineups here. This was my red zone team. One of the things that was just absolutely popping in the Sims, and if you were looking at basically any projections or Sims yesterday, was the Patrick Mahomes double stacks were all over the place. And, you know, one of the big riddles for me and on the cram was, how popular is Xavier Worthy going to get? And how popular is Patrick Mahomes going to get? And I thought we might see Worthy come in at 15%, Mahomes at 15%, and then you start to not really like this chalky trio here. But that's not what happened. Mahomes comes in at 12.3, and Xavier Worthy's all the way down at 6.4%. So even though this lineup, and specifically Xavier Worthy, didn't hit, I feel really good about those double stacks there. And there are certainly scenarios where the Raiders put up any bit of a fight and the Chiefs don't have to pull their starters, basically halfway through the game. But this lineup in the red zone was a Mahomes double. I did bring it back with Michael Mayer here. I had Kamani Vidal as kind of the pivot. Again, another Breece Hall lineup. CeeDee Lamb in here and Bill. I was overexposed to Bill yesterday in DFS. He ruined a ton of my lineups on Underdog. A bit of an unfortunate run out for him as far as Jaden Daniels getting hurt and it being a blowout. Like, that's never going to be the Bill game script. And yet it's also, I'll just say, a guy with his pedigree who still is going to split some touches, even in that game environment. I think at 30% is just a bad play. Like, I feel pretty comfortable saying Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt at 30% is not a good play. And I should have seen it coming too. It was one of the interesting poll results from the cram. Like, a lot of people were on Bill. I got it. I understood why. And yet you could feel the winds shifting in that direction. It's like Jaden Daniels has no weapons. We're going to play a little Chris Moore and a little Zach Ertz. No one was running to click submit on Jaden Daniels stacks. And you could just feel people being like, what's the cozy way to play this game? You play Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt as your lone commander. And so 30% owned Bill, another bad play here. I believe I had him in all of my DK lineups kind of by happenstance, not necessarily super intentional, but nonetheless a very bad play there. So yeah, this lineup did not fare well whatsoever. I did want to pull up the lineup I built with JM on Friday's show. I did toss this one into the single entry. This is the one JM put together on the block party. It was the Bo Nix, Sutton, and Ingram team. Jonathan Taylor, Judkins, George Pickens, Rashee Rice, Mason Taylor, Patriots defense. This one scores 186.96 points. Sutton comes in at 6%, Evan Ingram at 1.6%, and then everything else fairly chalky here. Pickens, Jeremy Pivens, George Pickens, kind of a nice pivot off of that CeeDee Lamb mega chalk at 14.5%. Another guy like Pickens was going to go nuts in this game if it was contested any bit more there. So yeah, shout out JM for getting people on those Bo Nix stacks. And then my best lineup of the day, and it's such a chicken shit move by me. I was looking at the Run the Sims top optimals on Sunday, and I actually took a screenshot of it. I had it on my desk, and I was like, you know what? I want to play another Bo Nix lineup. You know, we had talked about it with JM. I had been getting to him on Underdog. And so this one down here, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to throw this one in. A lot of the contests had filled, so I just threw it into the $3 play action. It was Bo Nix, Judkins, Bill, Rashee Rice, Troy Franklin, Courtland Sutton, Trey McBride, CeeDee Lamb, Cleveland Browns defense. This team ends up scoring 202.76 points, my highest scoring lineup of the day. And again, one ruined by Bill here. Bill's 4.2 points. You know, if you got the DeAndre Swift there instead, you are really starting to cook in one of these contests. But yeah, the Bo Nix stuff was really sharp, but really what you needed was naked Bo Nix, because Sutton 16.7 at 20% ownership is like just fine. It's not winning you anything. Troy Franklin 12.9 points at 3,900 is fine, but it really was just this giga smash by Bo Nix on the ground with the 2 rushing TDs. This is a good note from Mookie too. And we can see him here in this winning Millie Maker lineup. Oronde Gadsden, man. What a smash. 1.4% ownership, 3,300, scores 32.4 points. His ownership, or sorry, his usage has been on the rise every single week. Like, this is one of the coolest breakouts I think we're seeing right now in fantasy. My guy Dwayne McFarland had the tweet about this yesterday. I'm trying to find it. Here it is. Yeah. Routes and fantasy points by week. Week 3, 28%, week 4, 50%, week 5, 64%, back-to-back week 6 and 7, 77%. And his points have gone 9.6, 3.6, 2.4, 11.8, 29.4. And this is one of just the sickest things about fantasy is like, we have teams over on FFPC and in high stakes where it's like, you know, we spent so many first round picks on Brock Bowers, because people do forget it is tight end premium over there. And Brock Bowers is looking like one of the biggest busts of the year, you know, injury, of course, related, but regardless, one of the biggest busts of the year. And then you pick up Oronde Gadsden and he's doing like everything you could hope for essentially this past week from what you thought Brock Bowers was going to give you. So hopefully Oronde Gadsden can keep it going. I don't know if you guys have a player comp for him. He looks to me kind of like Jordan Reed out there, as far as how, I don't know, fluid and mobile he is, if you allow me to put on my film grinder hat. And the only film I watch is on Red Zone, but man, he looks silky smooth out there to me. Let's see. Anything else in this winning Millie Maker lineup here? So it was that Herbert to Oronde Gadsden and Keenan Allen with the Jonathan Taylor bring back. So kind of a vomit stack-ish with Keenan Allen at 5,500 and Gadsden at 3,300. Then Jonathan Taylor, again, just an absolute animal, the best player in fantasy, his 3rd hat trick game of the year. The dude has 9 touchdowns in just 3 isolated games, complete smash, 34.2 points. The Colts are an absolute wagon. Javonte Williams in this lineup, Rashee Rice, Chris Olave, Trey McBride, Panthers defense. This is just a really sick lineup too. I feel like we're on a streak of these Millie Maker lineups making a ton of sense. It's just jamming in all of the best plays. I guess he didn't have Judkins here, but Javonte wasn't a bad pivot off of Judkins, and then just plays one contrarian stack. Keenan Allen and Gadsden doesn't shy away from the double tight end there with McBride. Another guy we got to talk about, Trey McBride with Jacoby Brissett, is like who we thought Trey McBride was. Trey McBride is who we thought he was. It's just unfortunate that Kyler Murray is also who we thought he was, which is an awful quarterback if you're trying to get your elite tight end the ball. Man, I don't know what the Cardinals do. Of course, they're going to start Kyler Murray when they say he's healthy. But that is just absolutely devastating news for the Trey McBride bags, because he is a revelation anytime a quarterback who's over 5'8" is throwing the ball out there. Need Kyler to consider MLB for the McBride bags. Crutches is in on McGronk. He is so good, man. It is. I feel like we were gaslit by Kyler Murray. He caused this existential crisis for McBride stands where we're like, shit, is McBride overrated? Like, what's going on? Like, this guy can't get in the end zone. No. We don't gaslight us, Kyler Murray. You're the problem, not us. We had the talent eval right. Trey McBride is really good. Yeah, this is a great clip from a few weeks ago from Off and On the Clock, where Nez said, we got the unfortunate news that Kyler Murray will be playing and that he didn't end up playing. It is kind of a sweat, though, when you're drafting these underdog teams. It's obviously the entire, dynamic shift between DraftKings and Underdog. You can wait until inactive news and know that Kyler Murray's ruled out and then confidently put Trey McBride in your lineup. It's a little bit of a leap of faith on Underdog. You start drafting these teams on Wednesday and Thursday, and you're like, wow, if Trey McBride has Jacoby Brissett as his quarterback, he should be a 1-2 turn pick. He should be going at like pick 6 or 7. If he has Kyler Murray as his quarterback, he should be going at like pick 25 around Tucker Kraft. And so you gotta roll the dice, clackety clack. Am I gonna load up on Trey McBride or not? I love it. Let's all pour it out here. This is a cathartic experience for all of us. Kyler sucks. Oh my God. All right. I think that's about good here for DraftKings. The Breece Hall, the Bill stuff really sunk most of my lineups there. I don't have regrets about the Breece Hall stuff. I definitely have regrets about the Bill stuff. The Bill steam at 30%. For me to lock button him across all my lineups semi unintentionally is just bad. All right, let's head to Underdog here, where I technically had my first winning slate of the year. Finally got out off the schneid. I thought I was going to have a much bigger day there at one point yesterday. And then the Bo Nix stuff just went completely bonkers. But my main win yesterday was finishing third place in the Fullback dive. This is the $25 entry 5 max contest. I really like this contest. And I was in first place for a little bit here, and I'll show the lineup. It was an onslaught of that Chargers and Colts game. He had Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor, Keenan Allen, Tyler Warren in that game. So the Jones, Taylor, Warren with the Keenan Allen bring back. I had Javonte Williams at running back. And then this ended up being a huge saving grace yesterday. I had a decent amount of Deebo Samuel, and I talked even on Off and On the Clock why I wasn't scared about the Deebo Samuel Q tag at pick 20, because I thought the opportunity costs and the pivots were going to be really good. And I set up my swap order for Deebo Samuel like this. It was Chris Olave, then it was Michael Pittman Jr., then Romeo Doubs and Keenan Allen. So basically saying wherever Chris Olave is available, give me Olave, and then most likely going to get a bunch of Pittman. Probably not going to get past Pittman to Doubs much, but that's the tricky thing with the global swap stuff. When you have a decent amount of a player, I had around 15% Deebo. So this one was a huge beneficiary of said swapping, getting Chris Olave up there, changing out Deebo to Chris Olave, and getting those 24.3 points was a big help there. And then the only unfortunate thing, the team that finished first was a really sick team. It was a Drake May, Jonathan Taylor, Cam Scatabo, Rashee Rice, AJ Brown, Trey McBride. Just one of those lineups that kind of hits the one-off nuts at each spot. Not the true nuts, but the nuts, for a smaller contest like this. But the thing that stung was Nariki here passed me on that last play of the game. So Courtland Sutton, 13.7 points, had that final catch for what was it, like 25 yards. And so he passes me there with that Bo Nix to Courtland Sutton stack. So $500 swing there. But again, can't complain because I finally sniffed the top of the leaderboard, which I just have not done yet this year. And I really liked this onslaught lineup in a smaller contest here with only 1,128 entries. Joey says, I need to do better with those swaps. I trusted the swap to QJ, but it does me no benefits because he's nearly 100% owned. I should have tried to swap to a little bit less owned player like Olave. Now, I will say, Joey, depending on when you were drafting, Olave, I'm pretty sure that QJ flipped Olave in ADP down the stretch. So I'm guessing QJ was drafted a decent bit from like Friday on. Was more like 100%. And QJ is an interesting one where the ownership for him is kind of fake in that he closes with an ADP that looks like 100% ownership. And we can see here in the fullback dive. So in the fullback dive, yeah, he was 91% drafted. Because this contest, people wait until later in the week to primarily draft. Whereas I'm guessing if we go pull it up in the BR, he had a lower ownership. But I'll just say, Joey, I liked QJ a ton too. I had a ton of QJ on this team. I'm pretty sure the reason I have Keenan Allen is because Quentin Johnston got drafted. I think Quentin Johnston would have been my preferred bring back here for this stack, but was gone. And so I pivoted to Keenan Allen, which is just kind of one of those serendipitous things that happens when you're drafting sometimes. Let's head in over to the big battle royale here. There was, like I said, some jockeying at the top of the board there. This team from Andy was in first place for a while. A double tight end team. For a second there, I thought a double tight end team was going to take down the battle royale. Trey McBride, 24.4 points. Tyler Warren, 14.9. And it kind of blows my mind that this is possible because what it's saying is the running back slate was so poor from, pick 10 on. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor and Judkins were smashes, but it was basically impossible to get Jonathan Taylor and Judkins on the same team together based on their ADPs, which means you're then reliant on the later running back selections to compete with a tight end flex score. And even though guys like Javonte, who was paired with Jonathan Taylor at a pretty good clip, were serviceable, DeAndre Swift serviceable, it just goes to show that the Tyler Warren at 14.9 was enough to compete with those RB2 scores. So this person was able to get the high-end late round hits at wide receiver. Just a very funky lineup. This is not something I would try to recreate. When you look at even the pre-lock sims that Nerdy Tenor does over at In-Game Syndicate for the Battle Royale, the double tight end utilization for finishing in the top, percentile, it's at like a sub 1% rate. And even less than that every week. I think it's normally like 0.25 out of 150 of your lineups are recommended to be 2 tight end. So basically saying like 1 out of every 4 slates, you should have 1 double tight end lineup, which means just don't fucking do it. Right. But Andy here, and I always wonder when I see double tight end lineups, if this is an auto draft mistake. I will say you guys can go in to your rankings and set your limits here. My video box is obscuring it, but next to rankings, there's limits, and you can go in here and set your tight end limit down to 1 if you want. And the only bummer thing is you have to reset this every week. I wish it would just carry over, but you can go in and set this. So if you are auto drafting teams or whatever, you won't get 2 tight end unless you want it because you think Trey McBride and Tyler Warren are a nutted pairing together. All right. The first place team, though, that obviously charged was a Naked Bo Nix team. Sorry, not Naked Bo Nix. Bo Nix to Courtland Sutton. It had the same kind of pivot that a lot of people had, including myself on that fullback dive lineup. Debo Samuel out, Chris Olave in, had Trey McBride and DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift ended up being a really, really nice play on Underdog last week because he comes in at 32% drafted. That is just a very, very nice percentage for someone in a really good matchup who projected well. And I started watching that game and I was seeing the Kyle Monangai work and I was like, God damn, I messed up. I messed up having too much DeAndre Swift. And they ended up just having so much success on the ground that Ben Johnson is essentially doing his, impersonation of Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery with DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai. I think I want to look at my exposures here. Breece Hall was my most drafted at 29%, then Javonte at 23, then fucking Bill at 17. But DeAndre Swift was my 4th most drafted running back at 16%. He was a high conviction play for me. And unfortunately, the lineups I really needed him in there, paired with Jonathan Taylor, I had too much Bill in those lineups. I'll show you a couple of lineups that I had in the big BR that I thought were in the hunt. This was the lineup I got pretty excited about after the 1 p.m. games. I had a premium Jalen Hurts double stack to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Obviously, the crown jewel of this stack is Devontae Smith at 8.9% ownership, going for 28.8 points. Like, this is the stuff that scrolling dreams are made of. You get the highest scoring wide receiver on the slate at 9% ownership. You get it knocked out in correlated fashion. I have Jonathan Taylor from the 101 in this lineup. I have Trey McBride, who I come back and select at pick 12. And then all I have to do, guys, is click Javonte Williams here. All I have to do is click Javonte Williams at the 2-3 turn. If I just go the other way in that 1v1, I win all the money. But instead, I grab Bill. And I know why I did this too. And I can show you why I did this, because I even posted this in the Discord over the weekend. I think it was on Friday. I'm going to scroll up and find it. But I was looking at the most popular combos in the in-game syndicate draft caddy tool, which I like to look at. And here it is. So this was some of the most popular combos, 2-player combos on the slate. Jonathan Taylor with Patrick Mahomes, Jonathan Taylor with Rome, and Jonathan Taylor with Javonte Williams and Trey McBride. And this is a dynamic that happens because of pure ADP correlation, right? You pick 101, you have the players available for you at the 2-3 turn that have ADPs of 11, 12, 13, 14, and they get paired with the 101 at a disproportionate rate. Even though they project well, there's a reason they're going there. I just want to be conscious of that. And so I had a decent amount of Jonathan Taylor with Javonte, but every once in a while, I'll mix it up and say, I'm not going to do Jonathan Taylor with 2 of these most popular pairings. So in this one, I IKB it and say, you know what? I'll take Trey McBride, but I'm going to slide down to Bill. And instead, I ruin my best lineup of the day. Let's torture myself and see what it would have been. How many different points did we have here between Javonte and so Javonte scored 18.3. I just want to torture myself and see if I didn't get cute on that one. 18.3 minus 3.7. So there was a 14.6 difference. So then if I do 139.74 plus 14.6, 154.34. It's right here. Someone has this same lineup. All right. So then I match 0059 and I tie for 4th place. I guess the thing that I want to think through with the combo stuff is, because I know on that team that I'm going to do a Jalen Hurts premium double stack, if I should be less concerned about the combinatorial ownership of those high-end guys. So basically saying, hey, I'm going to pull a unique lever in this contest. And then maybe I don't need to pull an additional unique lever here at the top. But like Easy said, I would have duped. I would have duped had I done that. But you know what? Would I have rather duped for, $9K? $9,250 here, I believe, is what we would have split. Yeah, I would have liked that. But it is an interesting combo, I think, as far as building the highest projected team versus kind of sidestepping the dupe risk. I don't know if there is a right or wrong answer there as far as increasing your first place equity, but limiting your top 10 equity. I had a couple other fun ones up here as well. I did have some naked Bo Nix, but just didn't have the right combos. This was like a Nix, Achane, Javonte, AJ Brown. There's your QJ. QJ does come in 90% here, which is a little higher than I thought, just because he was going undrafted a little bit at the beginning of the week. Had some naked Herbert as well, which would have been nice. Obviously needed Herbert with Keenan, Jacobs, DeAndre Swift. You really needed Jonathan Taylor. And again, you can see it illustrated not only by the 2 tight end lineup, but by a 3 wide receiver lineup here. This team finishes in 3rd place. And it had Jonathan Taylor, McBride, but then AJ Brown, Chris Olave, and Keenan Allen. So the Herbert to Keenan stuff was really nice. And I think this is Glenn. Glenn had a Bo Nix to Sutton. And man, this is one of the sick things about BR kind of thinking through the naked versus correlated benefits. And, we talk a lot about how the correlating and stacking specifically can sometimes limit your ceiling. And honestly, that Jalen Hurts, score is kind of illustrative of that. But the whole point is by playing the Jalen Hurts double stack, it gets you on two of the highest scoring wide receivers on the slate in A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And you're not getting there without it. Like, no one in their right mind is going to select A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and then take Bo Nix or then take Justin Herbert. And you see even on a team like this, right? You take the 13.7 points from Sutton. That is not a tournament winning score on this slate from the wide receiver. And yet it gets you on Bo Nix, who goes for 40 points. So that push pull of correlation and like negatively correlated ceiling outcomes is such a fascinating one in these BR contests. And I think, if you're drafting a lot of these, you're constantly wrestling with that dynamic of, it's so nice to get less things right. Give me, picking Jalen Hurts gives me permission to select Devontae Smith, a guy that's harder to get to as a one-off. And so then you capture that score, but by necessity, you're also, limiting the Jalen Hurts stuff, because when Devontae Smith hits like that, it probably means Jalen Hurts isn't rushing in scores and going for 30 plus himself. So I don't know, that dynamic always kind of fries my brain. Obviously, the optimal is somewhere in the middle, and you look at the optimal rates and there's a good amount of naked quarterback and stacking, but it's a fascinating thought experiment with these slates. Yes, this happened to me as well, Christopher. I will, we can bounce over to Splash here real quick. I'm going to come back to Underdog because I want to review the Deposit Kingdom contest in the Dawg Bowl. But yes, I got way too cute in my second chance survivor here. And I had, this is my real survivor, which I had Denver, and holy cow, talk about a sweat of all sweats yesterday. Where's my second chance TD survivor? Here it is. I played so bad in this one. So I already lost Kyron Williams and Bill one. I have a Javonte and Rashad White. So I hit on Javonte, and then I have a Bill and Rashad White. My thought was like, I'll go more off the board this week when you can have two picks and save the heavy hitters like Bijan and JT for the single week gauntlet. But I think I got way too cute with this Bill stuff. But I will say, I think I looked ahead of time and he had like the 5th or the 6th highest implied odds to score a touchdown last week. And can we just all tilt that Chris Rodriguez touchdown again? There were just so many things. Second chance survivor, DraftKings lineups, Underdog lineups. We had him in our pick 'em for the Shipcast. He was the 4th leg as part of our pick. And Davis had the Bill. Had to mention it was Davis's pick. Had the Bill in there. I was just so massively overexposed to Bill scoring a touchdown. It seems like it's dead, just completely dead, because Jaden's hurt and they're trailing and it's not going to happen. And then they get the ball down to the 1 yard line. And you're like, thank God we're going to get the Bill bailout. The Bill bailout is here. Nope. Christopher Rodriguez in the game. Like, come on. Come on. All right. I'm done tilting. Let's head over. I need to pour more coffee and then we'll look at the Deposit Kingdom. Zeus says, do you go into each draft with a stack in mind beforehand? I mix it up. I will have stretches where I am just letting the room come to me and building out teams, being a little more cognizant of ADP fallers, being cognizant of like some combo mapping stuff. And then I'll go into some drafts. Like I know when I drafted that Jalen Hurts team, I was doing a batch of Jalen Hurts stacks from that game. And I mixed and matched it every which way. I had Jalen Hurts doubles. I had Jalen Hurts Devontae with Addison, Jalen Hurts Devontae with Jefferson. I had Jalen Hurts with Jefferson and A.J. Brown. I didn't get to wins, but I was basically mixing the combos of those stacks with Hurts and 2 wide receivers from that game, and then cycling through different 2 running back tight end combos. So it depends when I'm drafting and kind of what I'm trying to accomplish. But I would say a mix of pre-planning and not planning. The risk with the planning stuff is that you do miss other stuff. Like I've had times where like I'm just like moseying along and I'm like, holy shit, this round one player just dropped 6 picks past ADP. I absolutely need to scoop up this ADP value on Patrick Mahomes or whatever, even though I was planning to do a Jalen Hurts draft. So that's the thing I think you need to be careful about when you are pre-planning stuff, is you want to make sure that you can take advantage of a gift the room is giving you. All right, let's see who won the Deposit Kingdom here. I love this. Mr. Rob Lowe himself won it. Username NFL. Pretty incredible username. They had to, I wonder how early they were on Underdog. NFL, if you're in the chat, I'd love to know the origin story of this. This had the Jalen Hurts to A.J. Brown stack, Jonathan Taylor, Trey McBride, Javonte Williams. This is the other thing about popular combos on a slate, is it's really tough when there's such an obvious combo that hits, right? Jonathan Taylor 101, McBride Javonte at the 2-3 turn. You basically were, yes, there were ways to win without having that exact start, but there were going to just be so many teams with this start that it would be tough to compete with those 101 teams. AJ Brown, Chris Olave, in Jalen Hurts. So pretty just classic team here. But I like it. I think it's a really well-built team for this size contest, in that you kind of chalk it up in rounds 1 through 3. You come back and you grab the Hurts to AJ Brown stack, which isn't 100% owned. 76% Hurts in this contest, 72% AJ Brown, and then you get a 71% Chris Olave. So you're getting an ownership discount, you're getting in really strong plays, and getting the added benefit of the Jalen Hurts to AJ Brown correlation there. So congratulations to Mr. NFL. I see my high school buddy Ron Nathanson, Ed, here. He popped up in the chat the other week as well. He's a big baseball guy that I finally coaxed into the Deposit Kingdom Discord. He pulled the double tight end lineup. So maybe I need to ask Ron, was this an auto move, Ron, or were you willingly seeking out the double tight end? But this, man, you needed to have this lineup in the Big BR, Ron. The Jalen Hurts to Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith in the Deposit Kingdom contest. That's how we know you're a true deposit king here. 8.7%. Of course, Jonathan Taylor, Olave, and the double tight end, Trey McBride and Tyler Warren there. Which, again, is funny because you talk about the Javonte Williams chalk pairing at the 2-3 turn with JT. You go JT, McBride, Warren, and you only sacrifice, 4 points from Warren to Jonathan Taylor, but then you make up for it with the 28 ball from Devontae Smith. All right, there he is. Sim says, I'm NFL. Referral money has been great. Yes, and that's the same story as our guy, Win. I had him on After Dark and used had the Galbrain idea, or I shouldn't say Galbrain, just the sharp idea to make your username something that people would want to type in for a promo code. So there you go. Promo code NFL, promo code WIN, raking on the site there. Brian says, how fast is that contest, Phil? Still haven't gotten into it. Not fast. I tweeted about it, I put in an announcement in the Deposit Kingdom Discord on Sunday morning. I'm looking at the timestamp, 10:12 a.m., Brian, the first notification I sent in the Discord. Still room in the Deposit Kingdom 3 Max. It was like 60% full when I tweeted that. And did this fill? Okay, good. It filled. I was going to be devastated if it didn't. So yes, you've been able to draft this on Sundays, and I've been given the announcement. Yes, please. If you guys aren't in the Discord, that's the two main places that I can communicate with good regularity are the Deposit Kingdom Discord. I've been doing an announcement on Sunday mornings with any stuff with our Splash Tiers contests. I've been doing announcements about the Deposit Kingdom stuff. And then the other place to always keep up to date on stuff is just my P.O. Box newsletter. This is more a content roundup of the week. I do a little intro talking about whatever's on my mind. Had kind of 7 miscellaneous things I was talking about this week. So those would be the best ways to stay updated. Be in the Deposit Kingdom Discord. I promise I will not over ping you. I am very judicious with my use of tags and pings in the Discord. It's basically just once a week right now before the slate. And then the P.O. Box newsletter. This is a free newsletter. I'll drop it in your inbox every Saturday morning there, and you can get the roundup of all the content from the week. All right, let's head over and look at the Dawg Bowl. Dawg Bowl qualifiers here. We had 3. So Yuzenn, user Yuzenn here, has a pretty crazy story. This person, and I got to go into my mentions because they had tagged me the other day. So he had tagged me back on October 5th. So this was 2 weeks ago. He finished in 4th. You can see here 134.78 points. This was the week that Chad and G and Grinder punched their tickets. So Yuzenn here loses the spot by 0.1 points. I believe he had Wan'Dale Robinson in his lineup that week. And then comes back and says, I made sure to make it decisive this time. Gets first place here, 159.06. Runs away with this seat. 11 points clear of spot number 2. Bo Nix, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, Chris Olave, Keenan Allen, Jake Ferguson. So the naked Bo Nix, Jonathan Taylor, you get the Swift Chris Olave mini correlation, the JT Keenan Allen mini correlation, and then Jake Ferguson as kind of the one-off piece from that Dallas Commanders game. Very sick team there, scoring 159.06 points. You know that it's a crazy week when the score in the Dawg Bowl, where 72 players are selected, would have won the main BR. Let's fact check that. 159.06. Yeah, it would have won the main BR by 4 points. And that's because those picks get you on some of the deeper plays like Keenan Allen there. I guess Keenan Allen really the only deep play, not even Devontae Smith, but just a really strong team. 18 plus points from every running back, wide receiver, tight end spot, and then the near 40 ball from Bo Nix. Awen, man, this kid, second Dawg Bowl seat, already went to the NFL Dawg Bowl last year, went to the NBA Dawg Bowl. He was on the Badge Bros Winner's Circle last week, punches another ticket, back-to-back weeks with Alvin Kamara and Chris Olave in his lineup. Let me check this. I'm pretty sure he had those 2 guys in his lineup last week when he won it as well. Let's see here. Awen, look at this. This dude, is anyone saying it? Is anyone saying that Awen is an Alvin Kamara and Chris Olave merchant? Wins a seat last week with 10 points from Kamara, 12 points from Olave. Then comes back this week, wins another seat with Kamara and Olave. This one has the Bo Nix explosion, the Devontae Smith explosion, the Judkins 26 points, and then the Trey McBride 24 points. So some light correlation here with 2 Saints. Otherwise, just drafting the best plays. Congratulations, Awen. He's going to be tough to beat at the Dawg Bowl with 6 drafts. And then Sicko Dank, another previous qualifier. I will say, too, having met Sicko Dank, this dude lives up to his username. Just picture what you think someone with the username Sicko Dank would be like. Just imagine what their vibes, maybe what they'd smell like. Just imagine that for Sicko Dank, and you know exactly who Sicko Dank is. Congratulations, Sicko. Jackson Dart, 29.42 points. He's only drafted 54% of the time, even in the 12-mans. All of us scared off by that Denver matchup, and he goes for nearly 30. Quinshon Judkins, DeAndre Swift, Keenan Allen, Devontae Smith, Jake Ferguson. So again, basically no correlation here, all one-off pieces, but just nails it. Judkins, Swift, Keenan, Devontae, Ferguson, Dart. So congratulations to our Dawg Bowl qualifiers. As usual, some guys sniffing the leaderboard here. Dave, 7th place. I feel like every single week Dave is in the top 10. Crutches, 10th. Patrick Barnes was in the hunt there for a while. But Ladd, man, had the Herbert double stack with Ladd and Gadsden, just needed Keenan there instead. I know Nez was up here for a bit. Man, Awen and Buster Boys too, just littering the leaderboard up there. All right. I think that is about it. I think someone mentioned a 2 tight end team won the Wildcat as well. Yeah, so this was Shilly. I think Shilly tagged us in the Deposit Kingdom Discord with this one. Bo Nix, Jonathan Taylor, AJ Brown, Chris Olave, Tyler Warren, Trey McBride. I still need to know from the 2 tight end crew. Are you guys doing this on purpose, or was this an auto and you just don't want to admit it? You just want to be like, no. This was a click of skill, brother. I knew all along that 2 tight ends were the skeleton key to the slate. I think it's fascinating. Like, the way I would honestly think about it, and I think most of us probably understand this. It's less about 2 tight ends being the skeleton key and more about sidestepping the landmines. And what ended up being on the slate was sidestepping a lot of those, round 2 and 3 landmines at running back, sidestepping Breece Hall, sidestepping Bill, those guys that really flopped there, and just getting the floor of points from Tyler Warren allowed you to sidestep that. Yeah, this happens too. Matt says sometimes when I multi-draft, I forget I drafted a tight end in draft 2. Better lucky than good, man. Better lucky than good. All right, should we look at some best ball? I'm kind of scared to look at my my eliminator stuff. I think it's going to be a rough week for me. I think it's going to be a rough week. Let's go see though. I guess we still have 2 games tonight, so there's a decent amount of ball left to be played. Okay, I lied. I'm doing good here. Actually, what I need to go to is BBMDB because I got to see PD's projections, because this is how I really know the outlook here for Eliminator. All right, so I have 4 teams. I'm advancing 3 right now. I'm expected to be at 3.3. So I'm 100% in these 2. Don't mess with me, PD. Don't mess with me. So I had a Drake May, or no, this is Wooby Cakes over here. I had Patrick Mahomes. Oh, it was the CMC. See, I had looked yesterday, like late afternoon before the Sunday night game. And I was like, I don't think I'm doing too good. And then CMC goes nuts. So CMC, Kyron, DeAndre Swift here. Man, this team has Bucky on it if we could get him back. Oh, and I got Keenan. So Marvin Harrison, Keenan, Troy Franklin. Nothing at tight end, only 5.3 from Hunter Henry here. But yeah, this one, we're going to lock that one up against TGH. Lower scoring here at 100. But again, Mahomes, Pollard, Scatabo. This is like the all-rookie team. Hampton, Scatabo, Tootin, Dylan Sampson, Giddens. Had Puka out. I still have Amon-Ra going tonight. Xavier Worthy, Devontae Smith. Man, huge score for Devontae Smith when I needed that. And Igbuka. So, man, I just need this team to get healthy as well and should have a fighting chance. This team is done over here. This other team, which is going to be, looks like more of a sweat tonight. It looks like these other 2 are going to be sweats if I can get this one pulled up. Here it is. I have 116 to 109. I have Goff going tonight, another CMC team. I have Cooper Kupp going tonight. But I'm also going against potentially Igbuka and Higgins and Cade Otton. Cade Otton would need to score over 10.3 to hit his lineup. I have yet to score any tight end points and have Sam Laporta going. So I have Kupp blocked. It's really just making sure that Igbuka doesn't go nuts. Igbuka going nuts could be trouble for me, but otherwise this one's in good shape. And then let's look at this other one that I'm losing right now, but have a decent amount of PMR going tonight. Am I clicking this right? All right, here we go. So this team, geez, I had 4 points from Fields, but I have Stroud going tonight. This team had Jonathan Taylor and Achane. Oh, and I have JSN going tonight. And I just need, look at this. Ooh, this wide receiver room. If this team sneaks through, I got 14 from Theo, 25 from Freiermuth. I have Noel going tonight, but I took 0 from Flowers, Debo, Shakir, and Kyle Williams on this team. I need JSN and Stroud to put the team on its back. And I believe this team is done. Okay, so I am down 21 plus 3, 24 points. So I basically just need 24 combined points from Stroud, JSN, and Jalen Knoll. So that should be doable. So we could potentially run like the goddamn sun and get 4 teams through tonight, which would be pretty sick. That would be pretty sick. Isn't Igbuka out? I believe the latest I heard was a true game time decision. He got in a limited practice on Saturday. Mike Evans practiced in full. The way I'm reading it is that he's more on the doubtful side, but at this point, like Igbuka is such a dog. I think he falls into that category. Like he has those Puka vibes to me where it's like, Puka leaves the game and then it's like, Puka's coming back. That's just kind of the vibes I get on Igbuka. So I will not be shocked whatsoever if he plays tonight. I guess if I had to like give my balls projection on it, I would say a 55% chance Igbuka plays tonight. That's just my estimation. Yeah, they say he has a real chance to play tonight. All right, Crutches, let's look at this big elim. All right. Yeah, my big elims looks like I am on the verge of getting wiped. This is week 7. So what is it? Is this the 2 of 4 week? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. 2 of 4 advancing here. This team, it looks dead. 93 points. Although I have Stroud going tonight. What do I need to get up to? 120? 120. That seems like a lot. I have Stroud. Barkley really let me down. I have Montgomery tonight. Tet let me down. Ridley let me down. Debo hurt. Shakir on bye. Slot Demon not playing. Leggett putting the goddamn team on his back. This team sucks. Trey McBride did his part. This team's dead. All right, let's look at this one. Yeah, you're good, Crutches. Or at least I don't know what this what you're sweating here from this guy. Oh, Jahmyr Gibbs. Yeah. In this one, I'm in third with 130 points. 136. Do I have anything going tonight? Herbert put up a big score. Oh, I have Gibbs. That is huge. All right. Gibbs going tonight. Manungai. I remember looking at this team and being like, how is this team going to survive? Aaron Jones, Ramondre, Bigsby, Manungai, Mostert. Ramondre's coming on hot. Manungai from the top rope, 16.4, and I still have Gibbs to go tonight. Ladd, Tetaroya, Pickens, Jawan Jennings, Addison. Thank you, Addison. Coker, Hopkins. So what do I need for Gibbs to hit my flex? He needs to start outscoring Jawan Jennings at 5.1 points. That'll play. So then what does Jiggy Rolls have? Jiggy Rolls, all of those guys are done. Neighbors done. London done. Worthy. Okay, he has JMO. All right. But he needs JMO to start outscoring Worthy at 6.3. So I need JMO to stay in check, and I need Gibbs to cover. I need Gibbs to go for 11 points plus whatever JMO does over 6. All right, there you go. The Mostert Bigby team. I mean, just that's one of the things about reviewing best ball teams, and you're like trying to put yourself back in your perspective of what the hell you were doing when you selected these. Didn't Tank Bigsby finally get a carry for the Eagles yesterday? Didn't he have like an 11-yard run or something? I do remember starting to click some Mostert stuff at the end of my Eliminator slow drafts and just being like, he was one of the few kind of like clean handcuffs that just like wasn't regularly getting drafted. And I was like, why am I not taking more of these guys? But certainly not a great Eliminator ass play. That's for sure. man, I could really use Coker starting to do some stuff. And also Jawan Jennings, man, just such a fucking anchor on my entire portfolio. This guy. Let's check in on some BBM teams here. I think I could use a little more coffee. Appreciate everybody hanging out, commiserating. Shout out to everyone who won yesterday or broke even. Hit the subscribe button if you guys aren't subscribed. We're here every Monday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, recapping DFS, best ball, all of that good stuff. The Best Ball Mania team that I've referenced a few times that we drafted on the Bash continues to scorch the earth. That JT team. And it has Keenan Allen on it. Like, that was so sick. It has, let me find it. Where's Best Ball Mania? There it is. Let me see what my advance rate is heading into tonight. Also, shout out. I think this was, this feature went live after last week's portfolio review, but Patrick now has something on bbmdb.app where you can look at the advance rates for your entire portfolio in this one screen. Very, very cool here. So 31 of 150 BBMs, big board, not doing so hot. 4 of 30. You can see the baseline right next to it. Puppies, schnauzers, everything in here. Really slick stuff here from PD. But this is the team. This is this team we drafted on the Bash. You get the Herbert monster game yesterday. You get the Jonathan Taylor monster game. Yes, Breece Hall flops. We still have Gibbs going tonight and JSN. Sutton does fine. Even with Debo hurt, Keenan puts the wide receiver room on its back. Ferguson, another 2-tutty game. Maybe Tesla or Higgins can do something tonight as well. Really, really like this this team that we drafted on the Bash. Pepper Tony, have you ever spilled coffee on yourself during the stream? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think I can probably think of like 3 to 4 times I've done it. I know there's a clip of it somewhere out there too, but yes, the biggest pitfall for me is on my my carafe here, my coffee pot. If this lid that you have to screw in, you know, when it's when the coffee is brewing, if this is like slightly ajar, then it will all spill out in a surprising fashion. I'm now pretty good about making sure that that's screwed on there tight before I go to pour on stream, but I have certainly had some spills in my day. So here's the Bash team. You can see here some of my other advancing teams. Michael Leone up here. There's my one with Pat Moore from the Bash, a Pat Carrain, a Leone, a Best Ball Breakfast, a Lord Reeves, a Michael Leone, a Sacrilegious team from the Deposit Kingdom, a Best Ball Breakfast, a Best Ball Breakfast, a Best Ball Breakfast with Davis. My team with Davis is advancing. This is one of the final ones. What is this one? Mahomes, Bryce Young, Genty, Kamara, Dobbins, Algier, Bill, and Rico. This is kind of a sick running back room, honestly. I mean, it doesn't have, you know, the uber smashes, but it's healthy, which is nice. Genty, Kamara, Dobbins, Algier, Bill, Rico. Has Puka, Evans, Worthy, Diggs, Josh Downs, Cooper Kupp, and of course, we had to seal it up with Dontavian Wicks, and then Goddard and Ferguson. Shout out me and Davis. This team's kind of good. This team's kind of good there. I like that one. My team with Mathology, of course, in first place. I should just draft 150 with Mathology next year. I might need to. I might need to add him on to the Monday just to really boost my advance rates. Lamar, Mahomes, this team being in first place with Barkley and Bucky is nuts. And it has dead Najee, but Rico Dowdle put the squad on its back. Worthy, Zay, Debo, Slot Demon, Hollywood Brown, Demario Douglas, DeAndre Hopkins, Keenan, Troy Franklin, Kelsey, and Likely. This team in first with this many kind of like duds and injuries is pretty crazy. I know. I can't believe this team's advancing. Here's another. Oh yeah, my bash team with Chris, our resident cash game grinder over here, who promised to draft the most boring best ball team ever. Hurts and Caleb, Gibbs, Bucky, Scatabo, Braylon, Shipley, Manungai, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Smith, Rome, Jaden Reed, Michael Pittman Jr., Jalen Knoll, Troy Franklin. What do we have an update on Jaden Reed? I'm just realizing that now. I haven't. It has been absolute crickets on Jaden Reed. Is Jaden Reed dead? Have we gotten any kind of update on Jaden Reed, guys? I don't like this title. The Last Word, A Longer Wait. This is from Cheesehead TV. This guy's got to be plugged in. All right, I don't even know. I mean, this isn't giving me any information. I've heard nothing. The last articles from a month ago on Google News, Jaden Reed cannot even crack Google News in the past week. I'm reading an article on profootballnetwork.com. This is one of those like SEO click farms. This is where I have to get my Jaden Reed news. Estimated return weeks 10 through 11. Underwent surgery earlier this season to repair his broken collarbone. He had his Jones fracture fixed as well. Do I just need to give it up? Just tell me, like, just get to the point, author. Do I need to give up the ghost of Jaden Reed? Yeah, I'm giving it up. I'm giving it up. Why did my P.O. Box newsletter have an SSL handshake? Am I having a data issue with my whatever? All right, let's see a couple of these other teams. Oh, this is kind of a funny one to be advancing. So I did the video on the Deposit Kingdom channel where I recreated the structures of the winning Best Ball Mania teams through the past 5 years. And so the team I tried to recreate for BBM 3. So this would have been, what was BBM 3? Now I'm blanking. Was that the Karain year? Yeah, I think this was the Karain year. I recreated this one here. And this team's advancing. Justin Fields, JJ McCarthy, Bryce Young. That is a rough looking quarterback room. Come back and save me. Come back and save me, JJ McCarthy. Christian McCaffrey and JT, though, that's an elite running back start. I tried to recreate Karain's, I think it was Eckler and Barkley, right? Those were his first two picks. Zach Charbonnet, Will Shipley, Jarquez Hunter, but CMC JT doing all the work. Garrett Wilson, J-Mo, Debo, Addison, Cup, Palmer, Jalen McMillan, jeez, Josh Reynolds, and then Laporta and Kyle Pitts. That's funny. Best Ball After Dark with SM. Who's that? Who is SM? I would have to go look. See some of these abbreviations. My team I drafted with JM is advancing. That's funny. Couple off and on the clock teams advancing. Look at this. Look at this range. A team we drafted on May 27th and a team we drafted on August 26th. The Barbell Bros. Another Leone team, another Best Ball Breakfast. Look at this. I don't even know what this, does anyone remember the naming for this one? This is from August 11th, and it just says, Best Ball Breakfast, don't discuss. What happened? Why did I label this one don't discuss? Caleb Williams, Sam Darnold, Jackson Dart, Josh Jacobs, James Cook, Isaiah Pacheco, Tyrone Tracy, Ramondre Stevenson, Jaden Blue, Jamar Chase, Rashee Rice, Jerry Jeudy, Cooper Kupp, Kyle Williams. Oh, was this the one I autoed Rashee Rice at the 2-3 turn? And I was devastated about it at the time. Wan'Dale Robinson, Torrey Horton, Trey McBride, Jatavian Sanders. I think that's why I was so tilted. Should we go see? I'm kind of curious. Should we do this? Do you guys have time for this? You guys want to go back and see why I labeled this one don't discuss? Or is this a dumb idea? I'm kind of enjoying the game within a game as well. But if this is bad TV and you guys would like me to just move on to Monday Night Football, please tell me. I won't be offended. But I am kind of curious why I labeled this one "Don't Discuss." I think it was a Rashee Rice auto draft. Now I have to figure out where it is. We have to go back. Was this the hybrid dad team where he autoed the first pick? Let me go find it. See, now I need to find the date. So I'm looking for an August 11th stream. That July 7th. All right, we're gonna have to buckle in here. August 11th could have been around this one with. Okay, I found it. All right, this is the August 11th stream. Let me, I'm going to share the Chrome tab so we can listen to the audio here. And we can figure out why I was so tilted. Let's shout out to my guy Mark here for the timestamps. Let's see. Here's my first one. Is this draft 104? Yeah, 104. Okay, here it is. Let's see what it is. No, I didn't. Why am I? Come on. I clicked 104. All right, we're off to the races here. First draft of the day, Influencer 101. If that doesn't set us up for a wonderful day of drafting, I don't know what will. How are we doing this? My guy Ted Arroyo having a nice catch. Justin Fields rushing for that touchdown. So that was cool. So I go Josh Jacobs, Trey McBride. I'm guessing I time out on Rashee Rice here. 4-5 turn. So let's go ahead and grab a Rashee Rice share. I don't really know what's going on with this shit. Like when is the suspension going to get announced? When is it going to happen here? So it wasn't, I willingly selected Rashee Rice there. I just want to figure out when did I start tilting? Box was last week. So yeah, the majority of it was that up. What am I doing? I just had a complete meltdown. Okay, there's the moment. Fucking talking about coffee and just made two horrendous picks. I'm so shook. I thought for sure Loveland was still on the board and I missed it. He went at 111. So I just took a naked Caleb and I could have taken DJ Moore instead of Rashee Rice. That was why he was in my head. Unbelievable. And I'm expected to do 6 more drafts today. And then at the last second, once I was on tilt there, I just panicked Ramondre. We were just talking about how Trevion Henderson is the buzziest pick in all of fantasy, and I had to take his dusty backfield mate. Okay, so I was so mad that I autoed a naked Caleb Williams and Ramondre Stevenson. If that proves that my August self knows nothing, I don't know what else does. I truly don't know what else does. Let's see here. Devin says, do you hate hearing your own voice or no? Yes, I typically do. I was just curious enough to know why I had labeled this "Don't Discuss" that I was willing to hear my own voice for a few seconds. Also, I missed some chats up here. Let me circle back a little bit. I went down a crazy Inception level rabbit hole. Kevin with 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, Kevin. Very much appreciate that, sir. Kevin says, I've netted a cool $50 since winning week 2, so I figured I'd return it to the chat. Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate that. Nez giving us some injury alpha on Jaden Reed. Hollywood missed like all season with a collarbone last year. It might be turbo over. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and mentally send all my Jaden Reed bags to 0. Producer Mark reminding me that my draft with SM was Steph Miller from After Dark here. This was a Herbert Stafford dart team. That's sick. Oh my God, Hampton and Hendo. But then we come back with Tracy Tootin, Javonte, the saving grace on this rookie heavy team. Puka, Ladd, Devontae. So you get the premium double stack with Stafford, Ridley, Diggs, Wandell, Tesla, and then Hawkinson, Freiermuth, Theo. Nice little team there with Steph. Thank you for that note. Mark And yes, thank you guys for indulging me in the best ball inception. Chris says CMC JT JSN is advancing 94.5%. That was the nutted start. I think you could also have Bijan in there, right? The best team that I drafted with the Bash is a Gibbs JT JSN team. So as long as I think even if you had Jamar Chase, JT JSN, a lot of those picks at the top are pretty nutted. Basically, if you got the JT JSN 2-3 turn, who knows? Maybe Trey McBride starts to make a bit of a push too. It's going to be hard for him to challenge JSN, but when you kind of factor in the positional scarcity stuff there, maybe Trey McBride from an advance rate perspective could make some noise. But man, JSN is on fire right now. What does the best team in BBM look like right now? Oreo King in first place with 1,112 points. So to put that in perspective, my best team there has how many points? 967 versus 1,112. This is what the nuts look like in BBM right now. Drake May and Dak Prescott. A true, I was going to say 0 RB team. They're listed in the reverse order. So here you go. You have that combo we just talked about. Bijan, JT, and JSN. But the running back room is Bijan, JT, Chuba, and Rico. Apparently that's not a no-no. Javonte Williams, Ray Davis, Blake Corum. The wide receivers are JSN, Pickens, Addison, Downs, Demario Douglas, Isaac Tesla, and Trey Tucker. And then the tight ends are Hunter Henry and Jake Ferguson. That's a clean team there, though, with May stacked up with Henry, Dak stacked up with Ferguson and Pickens there. This is a really nicely correlated team. The Demario Douglas spikes, what was that, last week? Trey Tucker's been a huge hit at a 17% draft clip in BBM. Addison now coming on for him and just, nailing the Bijan JT plus the Javonte Rico stretches. Just an absurd amount of points there. Congratulations to Oreo. Is our guy Shorty still up here? He was up here for a little bit with a top team, but I don't see him now. All right. I think that's probably good on the best ball stuff. I think I actually have some guillotine sweats. I believe I'm on the chopping block in the ship chasing one. One of mine is already chopped, but I am still going to review it. I'm not that much of a poor sport that all of a sudden the guillotine segment just mysteriously disappears the second I'm chopped. So this is the Hollywood League is the one I like to call it here. This team is in good shape. I've been working the waivers hard in this one. I'm the second highest score on the week, mainly because of Devontae Smith. And you know what? Earlier in the week, I had Jalen Waddle in ahead of Devontae Smith. And then I said, no. We're not dealing with Jalen Waddle in this team against the Browns in a monsoon. So we get Devontae and he goes for 33. That's going to be good enough to win your week. Also get 28 from Keenan. I mean, that's like the dream in guillotine, right? When you got guys like Keenan Allen and Olave who have the high floor, but then can also access a 25 plus point ceiling. So this team is in really good shape. Got Gibbs going tonight, Mike Evans tonight, played the high floor play with Romeo Doubs, Harold Fannin there. And I'm sitting on Brock Bowers in this one. I bought him for cheap on the waivers when he initially got hurt, with the goal just being like, I can survive with Fannin types, and then trying to build a super team by the end of the season once Brock Bowers is back. Also, Travis Hunter coming on. He's another one who the usage yesterday, guys, was awesome. I included this nugget in the Fantasy Life newsletter, but we finally got what we were hoping for from Travis Hunter yesterday as far as a full-time offensive role. Let me pull up this tweet here. Yeah, 30% target share here for Travis Hunter. His route participation was up to 90%. the highest of the season. He's gone 63, 74, 74, 88, 90%. And then season highs last week or yesterday, 24.1 fantasy points, 30% target share. So should be good things on the horizon for Travis Hunter. And yeah, I mean, this was part of the whole Travis Hunter conversation. Mo in the chat says he's better than BTJ. I think BTJ, like no one was advocating to take Travis Hunter ahead of BTJ, but part of the thesis of selecting a guy like Travis Hunter and where he went in the draft and his prospect profile was like, yeah, he could be better than BTJ. He was a better prospect than BTJ. So it wasn't an outlandish thing to factor into the range of outcomes. And yeah, I truly don't know what's going on with BTJ. I still think BTJ is really good. And I think BTJ and Hunter can complement each other with their skill sets. I have no clue what's going on with Brian Thomas Jr. right now. All right, so this team is going to be fine. This is a fantasy life team. This one I'm really having to work the waiver wires. I should be fine in this one. Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor, spot started Isaiah Pacheco in this matchup. Get the Chris Olave 26.8 here. Troy Franklin, Michael Mayer, man. I thought he was going to be a floor play. I'm like, give me my 6 to 7 catches from Michael Mayer here. He only scores 2 points. Ted Arroyo, same thing. It's like the whole thesis with the McMillan stuff has been like, yeah, you're seeing 7 to 8 targets a game. That gives you a nice guillotine floor. He was a guy I picked up on waivers, and now we've had back-to-back weeks where even last week when he scored the touchdowns, the volume just hasn't been there. And then Goddard, I decided to flex. Don't love doing the 2 tight end things, but you can see from my other options, it was like Judy in the monsoon, Pollard, who I've been cooling on, can't play Trevion, Keon Coleman on bye, Pearsall hurt, Bucky hurt. So I was scraping the bottom of the barrel there, but was able to make it work in this one. I've been really liking the Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor pairing just because the floor for those two combined, even when Dimes has a down game, it's just so high right now to capture every point from the Colts team. Look at this, Joe Holka show, elite title, had to click. What's up, Joe? How are you doing, brother? We should do an After Dark again, Joe. I feel like we are due. I've been doing them Saturdays at 8 p.m. Would love to catch up with you, talk some ball, hear what you're up to. All right, let's see. This is the one that's chopped. This is the Deposit Kingdom contest here. Let's see who's on the chopping block this week. Randomizer internship program. See, this is what Matt gets for needling me last week about losing. Matt sent me a private chat. I think he made the comment in earnest, but he was like, "Hey Pete, do you need screenshots of the Deposit Kingdom Guillotine League for your portfolio review?" And I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "Oh, because you got chopped. And so I thought maybe you didn't have access to it." So it was a pretty sick needle from Matt. And then lo and behold here, 81.81 is what he's projected for, only 40.94 points. But the projected Chad Candles here in second to last is at 91.57. So looks like Matt might be joining me on the sidelines unless David Montgomery, Laporta, Charbonnet, and Tez Johnson. My God, Matt, this is something right here. What happened to this team? This team deserves to be chopped, Matt. You can't go to battle with this team. This is just a bad guillotine team. All right. Who's dominating Deposit Kingdom right here? Let me see. Chopkins, Justin Herbert, Bill, Rashad White still to go tonight. Get the 3 touchdown game from Devontae Adams, CeeDee Lamb, Tyler Warren, Drake London, Nico Collins. This is a good team. Yeah, this team's loaded. Loaded at wide receiver. Adams, Lamb, London, Nico. And then you got the 0 RB plug-in here with Rashad White and Bill, and then even ETN and Chase Brown. That's a nice team. Ship chasing. This is the one I'm actually on the chop tonight. I am on the chop. So right now, look at how close this is going to be. The projections say 99.16 for me, 99.39 for Greg. So tonight I have Jameson Williams going. And that's all I have left. Michael Mayer really screwed me, as did Caleb Williams. I had this start-sit decision between Daniel Jones and Caleb Williams. And boy, did I mess that one up. Jeez. Even with the Olave, this was another team I was forced to go 2 tight ends. James Cook being on bye really hurt, as did Garrett Wilson. And then I didn't want to use Jalen Waddle. So my options here just evaporated. And the Daniel Jones instead of Caleb Williams really hurt. Really hurt. Even Javonte and Bijan still being rocks in this lineup. Olave, I'm going to need a JMO explosion here. Let's check out Greg's team, who's in the chat right now. Oh, and you left Debo in. Now it's Gibbs JMO for you. But I would have put Kittle in anyway. So there you go. Yeah, Kittle. Wait a second. Is this your team, Greg? Oh, yeah, Kittle. I got you. Kittle out. But no, you would have had someone else in because you started Kittle. But anyways, you took a 0. If I lose to a team with 0 from Debo and 0 from Kittle, I'm going to be so tilted. So it's Gibbs versus JMO. And what? I have a 5-point lead. 87.58 to 82.34. Yeah, I think you're the favorite for sure with Gibbs. I mean, the JMO stuff is just so volatile. I will say this. It's easier to throw on the Bucs than it is to run. But man, I mean, Gibbs is just terrifying. I'm going to need a JMO tutty. Like, I'm going to need the classic JMO big play. He's going to get his 5 targets, his 6 targets, and I'm going to need him to house one of them. I'm going to need it. Fully loaded here, crushing this week. Oh my God, getting the Bo Nix 40 burger. I had Bo Nix on a few of these guillotine teams and then said goodbye to him because I was like, I can't deal with the Bo Nix floor in this contest. Christian McCaffrey, look at this score. You get Bo Nix, Christian McCaffrey, even T. Higgins. Man, this isn't, like, no offense, Fully Loaded, but this isn't even that good of a team. You're rolling out DJ Moore, Alec Pierce, Matthew Golden, T. Higgins, Kamara. Like, there is a ton of volatile plays in this, and doesn't even get Travis Hunter in the lineup. Come on, Fully Loaded. This is just me chirping from the cheap seats as I'm about to get axed. But playing Alec Pierce over Travis Hunter, come on. DJ Moore over Travis Hunter. Come on. All right, Judson, from your lips to God's ears, JMO going for 160 tonight. I haven't been pulling these up on stream a ton, but I can show you guys some of our high stakes teams that we draft over on the Ship Chasing channel. There's a couple really fun teams here. This team that we drafted with Gretsch is looking really sick. This is a Jonathan Taylor, Devontae Adams team here. We've been working the waiver wire on this one, but Drake May, Adams, and then we get Addison back and we start plugging him in. So this team has been doing really nice. The team we drafted was Sean Siegel. It is a wagon here. So this team has Achane, CeeDee Lamb, JSN, Laporta, Olave, Fannin, and then look here down on the bench. We got Gadsden on the bench on this one. Still have some running backs we're kind of marinating on here. Harvey, Brashard Smith, Bashal Tootin. Basically, if you could just get like one hit from one of those. But man, the Warren, Achane, Lamb, JSN combo here with Drake May and then Gadsden coming on is pretty sick. We had our 5K team. This is the team we drafted with Leone. This team is really good. This was the team. If you guys watched this stream when we did it on Ship Chasing, this was the one. The chat in the comments absolutely hated this team. We should do an Inception on the comments on this team. you lit 5K on fire. Who's going to be your running back 2? I have an answer for everyone now. Everyone who was worried about our running back 2 on this team, his name is Cam Scatabo, and he's glorious. And he is everything you could ask for in an RB2. This team has Patrick Mahomes, Christian McCaffrey, Cam Scatabo, McMillan and Worthy, Laporta, Addison, Fannin, kind of similar bench here with some running backs, and then Puka. And this team has Travis Hunter on it as well. So we, even with Puka out, to still get to be on pace for 163 points here. Like the Mahomes, CMC, Puka trio right now is just really, really sick. And then to get Travis Hunter coming on as well. So yeah, this team in the 5K is looking particularly good. It is funny. We did a few of these $125 sit and go ones. And this one team we drafted called Slap Chasing is in first place by a good bit. This is, of course, tight end premium. Herbert, Dak, Hampton, Pollard, Montgomery, Bill, Scatabo, and Keaton. How is a team with this running back crew in first place? Well, it's because it has CeeDee Lamb, Ladd, JMO, Pickens, QJ, Ferguson, Ertz, Fannin, and Gadsden. Holy shit, man. Gadsden coming on as like the last pick in these 18-round tight end premium best ball contests is just insane. 32.9 points, flexing 4 tight ends. This is if you guys aren't familiar with the FFPC, you start 1 and you can flex 2. So sorry, 3 tight ends, Gadsden, Ferguson, Ertz hitting this lineup. That's pretty fun. All right, let's set our sights on Monday Night Football. Let's set our sights on Monday Night Football here. We have 2 games tonight. And I will say I feel decent about some of the angles for Bucs and Lions. I don't have a great read on Seahawks and Texans, but let's do what we usually do here. Do we have any? Yeah, we have a Monday Night Football Palooza here. So let's hop in one of these, get our feet wet, and then we will build a couple pick'ems, and then we can wrap up with a little week 8 look ahead. Week 8, even saying that out loud is just like, holy shit, this season is flying by. All right, let me look at this. Yeah, if you guys have any alpha for this slate, like D. Owens, feel free to drop it in. Says fact that Noel is going undrafted in BR seems like leverage. That's an interesting one with Kirk not in play. So if we look at the quarterbacks on this slate, Baker, Goff in a tier of their own, then Darnold, Stroud. Stroud on the road at Seattle does not sound like a fun time. The Seattle secondary, I believe, is getting some of their guys back tonight. And they've been pretty good with their pass rush. So I do not love the spot for Stroud. But Baker, Goff, Darnold, certainly strong plays. Tight end, Laporta, Barner, Schultz, Otten. I don't know. This feels super flat after Laporta. Running back is definitely Gibbs and White, and then a tier break, pretty big tier break down to Walker, Montgomery, and Sharbs. Wide receiver, JSN, Nico. Wide receiver is interesting with the Q tags on the Bucs. Let's see, Nez, should JSN be the 101? You might be right. Why don't we do this? I kind of like the angle of, let's go Rachaad White, and how do we want to play this? If you go Nico, you give yourself the last quarterback out, the stack out, and then you know that you can punt quarterback if you want. Or do we just want to play like the Mike Evans Q tag and that he is likely to play tonight? Let's just go double Bucs here. Double Bucs, Rachaad White, Mike Evans. Nico's been a baller this year. I mean, his targets per route run and stuff, like the Nico Collins profile, there's nothing to be scared there. It's just, this offense is just pretty disappointing. CJ Stroud is going to get a lot of pressure tonight. I don't know if he's going to be able to get the ball out enough times to support, a Nico Collins ceiling game. Everybody is excited about Bijan Robinson versus he gets the Dolphins this week, right? Yeah. All right, we are back on the clock. I feel like even though I don't have Baker, I feel like I just want to take the Igbuka Q tag. I mean, is that bad? I know, because you can probably get the Tez swap, right? I think it's worth just taking the Igbuka thing. And if I'm going to be so heavy into this game, I think we play like naked Jared Goff and that this is just the shootout. I don't know. Maybe this is donkey. I'm not a PTP, bro. I don't know what I'm doing. Jared Goff, Rashad White, Mike Evans, and Emeka Egbuka. Coffee pour here on the stream. Because if Egbuka goes, if we got the report right now, hey, Igbuka's in, he's definitely an into the second round pick, right? It goes Amon-Ra Gibbs, JSN, Rashad White, Evans, Baker, Nico, and then Egbuka, right? Egbuka is going right next to Nico if he plays. So I think with that discount and the fact that Tez is such a clean swap. Now, could Tez get drafted? Absolutely. But if he doesn't get drafted, then I think it's a pretty good play there. Do I try to force a stack with Jared Goff, or do I just play that naked? Should we just rip it in? I guess the Cade Otton stuff is less attractive. No, I think we just have to go Cade Otton, right? There's the drop down from Cade Otton to Arroyo is pretty seismic. And then the question is, do you take Charbonnet here, or do you just scroll down to Tesla for a low-owned stack? I think Sharbs is probably the way to play it. Higgins is kind of interesting. Let's just play the Sharp stuff. Seattle having success. We know they're still going to use Sharbs at the goal line. This team has no interest in giving Kenneth Walker more work. To me, this team doesn't make a ton of sense, but I don't hate it. Jared Goff spreads the ball around. You get Rashad White, Evans, and Egbuka kind of feasting against a team that's a lot easier to throw on than it is to run on. And then Charbonnet scores the touchdowns for Seattle at the goal line. Neil Orfield's theory. Evans, Egbuka, double decoy for Cade Otton 30 burger. Well, guess what? If I just spent a second and third round pick on the decoy to get my fifth round pick, 30 points, I guess I could live with that. All right. I don't even know. Do I want redemption in these streets? Should we do one more? Let me do one more and see if I can build a logical one. Don't worry. We're going to get there, Dave. I'm going to just do one more of these. I feel like it happens every week. I do the first one blind, and then I want kind of a redemption crack at it. And we get the 101 here. I'm going to go with the Nez take. I'm going to go with the Nez take and take JSN. I think Gibbs is awesome, but again, a lot easier to throw on the Bucs than it is to run. Let's play JSN, who I think is in that Puka S tier right now, as far as exactly what you're getting from him when you click. I was doing a little bit more research this morning. I was listening. Pat Crane has his great walkthrough. He had his Monday Night Football walkthrough, so I was in the weeds. He was talking dirty to me about play action rates. So yeah, I got some ideas for the pick'ems. Don't worry. We're feeling more prepared than we have been. Josh, unfortunately, does not have any first quarter locks for us, though. Come on, Josh. Let's brainstorm it together. Mike Evans, first game back after a layoff. First quarter reception. Get Mike Evans going. What other angles could we have? Narrative-driven angles. I'm trying to think. I don't think we have any revenge games, right? It's basically Evans returning. Yeah, I don't know if we got any good narratives. Owen says Torrey Horton might get free as JSN probably gets the Stingley treatment. I don't mind the Torrey Horton call, but JSN, he's just winning all over the field, and he's targeted at such a high rate that I'm just not too worried about matchups with him. Wait, is this true? Kenneth Walker's birthday? Maybe they give him one extra touch. Here you go, birthday boy. One extra touch, but not at the goal line. Don't get greedy. Don't get greedy. All right. Let's see what so he goes Laporta. I was interested in Laporta there. Let's grab Kenneth Walker. I was just alerted to the fact that it's his birthday. And let's should we do JMO? Should we do JMO here? Let's do JMO, and then that'll give us 2 outs as far as going Goff or Darnold at quarterback. I talked about this earlier. What's the latest nugget on Igbuka? Was he trending downward or upward? He was a limited practice on Saturday. They said he's going to be a game time decision. The quote was that he has a real chance to play. My thought was his dog levels indicate that in most situations, I would be like the tea leaves say has like a 30% chance to play, but because it's Igbuka, I think it's like closer to 55%. That's from my proprietary From the Balls forecast for Igbuka's chances to play tonight. 55% chance. Is the main BR still going to be 50K up top? Good question. Did it fully fill last week? I know the previous week we had a little overlay. Did it fill? Let me double check that. 55. No. Yeah, no, it's going to get smaller. About 3,000 entrants short. So I would not hold my breath. All right, I'm going to be able to get one of the 2 quarterbacks I want, which is nice. He goes Goff. I think what I do here is I think I onslaught the Seahawks. Let's go Darnold to Kupp and JSN, or do we want to play the angle? D. Owens likes the Torrey Horton. Let's do this. Let's knock out tight end because the tight end gap there is pretty big. Let's grab Cade Otton, and then we can go a little lower ownership Galbrain for our final selection. Jay Glazer's pregame Fox report said the Bucs were leaning on Igbuka playing. I always feel like getting access to the Glazer pregame report, which he refuses to tweet out and only does on Fox. It, like, in my head feels like the Nathan Fielder sketch where he's trying to make it difficult for people to get the free rebate on the TV they bought. And they have to like crawl through a tiny little hole, and then there's an alligator waiting for them. That's how I feel like I have to get access to these Glazer reports. Right when you're almost to get the Glazer report, there's an alligator. You got to turn on your TV. You got to get your bunny ears, antennas up. Tell the whole family to quiet down. Jay's about to speak. All right, let's see here. All right, D. Owens. So Woody Marks is kind of interesting too, but I like this. I'm gonna ride with D. Owens here on this this Torrey Horton take. I do not know who won the Dawg Bowl Pick 'em. They've been tweeting it out. I don't know if they've tweeted it out yet. I've been finding out when people tag me and say, hey, I hit a 100X. Did I win the Dawg Bowl? I did not receive any of those tags this week. I'll show you guys my real quick, my Galaxy Brain Dawg Bowl entry. Let me see here. Where was it? Dawg Bowl Qualifier. All right, I went for 100X. I had QJ, CeeDee Lamb, and Franklin. Those were the guys that hit. The ones who didn't were Alec Pierce. I thought that was a good long shot. Matthew Golden, and then Bill. I mean, Bill just killed everything. All right, let's roll up our sleeves. I have a few angles I like. Let's build a core here. I have a 40% profit boost and also the Boostober 30%. So let's use two of these. Let's build two pick'ems. I think maybe one for each game. So I want to look at a few of these things. One thing I really like is just the Rachaad White receptions. I don't think they're going to have a ton of success running on them. You get the bonus too. Like if Igbuka doesn't play, Rachaad White is going to be an extension of the passing game here, obviously. So I think I want to put 3.5 receptions in here. The other thing Karain was talking about that I liked is the Lions have had a ton of success on play action this year. And the two most utilized players in their offense from the play action is Amon-Ra and Sam Laporta. Those have been the 1-2. And he was talking about how he thinks they are going to dial up a lot of play action here against the Bucs. So I think it'd be fun to do something with Amon-Ra and Laporta, if kind of playing that angle. Like Laporta, you could play with you could play like the touchdown with him and then go like receptions for Amon-Ra, or you could kind of flip it a little bit. I mean, Amon-Ra, the past 4 games has been 7 for 77, 7 for 70, 8 for 100, 9 for 45, and he's at 7.5 tonight. 7.5 tonight there against the Bucs. I kind of like the fact that you're getting plus money on that too. Cheese likes the first quarter reception instead of the full game reception. Let's see what is that at? You guys like that one? Should we try to keep the first quarter? But see, I don't know, because that's the same number. It's a 0.87. And the other thing about the first quarter reception stuff is like, if they're trailing against Detroit, the thing you like about the full game is that the trailing game script will happen in the second half. Like I do worry game script stuff in one quarter. You worry if, they break off a big run or they have a DST or special team score, and then there's no need for them to be passing as much. I think I'm going to ride with just the full game receptions here. We can slap it up with Jalen Noel when we get to the next one. The Laporta stuff, let's see here. I just want to decide my favorite way to play him. If we want to go, I mean, he's been 5 catches. He scored a TD in these past 2 games, 47.5 yards. He's cleared this number the past 2 games as well. I feel like fantasy points might just be a nice way to play him. Although I guess you just bring it into, you're basically might as well just do a touchdown, right? Because the 2 weeks previously that he didn't score, he was at 5.4 and 5.3. What do you guys like on Laporta? Between touchdown at 1.24, 47.5 receiving yards, 4.5 receptions, or 9.55 fantasy points. You could also play targets with him. I guess that's juiced a little lower, but 5.5 targets isn't bad. Maz just wants to swing for it with the touchdown. Just keep it rolling. Back-to-back games with touchdowns. Judson likes yards. See, yeah, now D. Owens is trying to get us back on the first quarter thing there. What is the Evans first quarter reception? Yeah, it's only 0.75. So they think that's like a lock. I will say, do you guys feel a little scarred about the injury return stuff after what happened with Kittle last night? Just complete goose egg. Davis says, slide Mike Evans to 99.5 yards or go home. Guess what? I already am at home. So that is going to be, that's going to be simple for me. I want to do something with Laporta. I guess I'm just saying, do we need to go up to, let's just go for the touchdown here. Let's play this angle. This is a 3-leg pick'em that gives us a 10.35x with a 40% boost if you guys have that one, or hopefully you at least have the 30% profit boost. We're going to go Rachaad White, higher than 3.5 receptions. Amon-Ra, higher than 7.5 receptions. And Laporta scoring a tutty here. Let's get back in the green here. All right, should we build one for the second game? I still have this other boost to use. Let's build one for the second game. I haven't heard nearly as many suggestions for the Seattle-Houston game. It's as if none of us are going to be up to watch or sweat a game that kicks off at 10 p.m. Eastern. I am not being hyperbolic when I say I will be dead asleep by the time this game kicks off. Just out, absolutely cold. Dreaming about 2 tight end lineups with Trey McBride and Tyler Warren. No one wants to watch this. Should we? Here, let's put it up. Let's put it up to a vote in the chat. Would you guys do you want to just build a second Tampa Bay Detroit and just self-exclude from the Seattle-Houston game? There are no rules here. No one says we have to build a pick'em for a game that we're not even going to watch. And I'll tell you what, I wake up in the morning, I don't have my phone in my bedroom, so I grab my watch, and it has been so long since I have seen a cha-ching notification on my watch after I wake up. I for a while, I thought maybe they're just broken. Maybe Underdog just does not send me cha-ching notifications anymore. And then I realized, I don't think it's on Underdog. I think it's on me. I have not done anything cha-ching worthy in what feels like months. All right, let me see it. CJ Stroud, lower fantasy points. No one wants to watch Seattle, Houston. Noel, Higgins, post bye, and no Kirk. I do like that angle, Nick. Defensive battle, Darnold pick. Honey, wake up. Zach Charbonnet's running up the middle again. Slide TB Detroit, second TB Detroit. I honestly don't. I mean, why are they doing 2 Monday Night Football games? I mean, the real answer for any question is money. In practicality, though, I have no clue. I mean, they're doing it for money, but why they think it's ultimately a good idea, I do not know. All right. Let's go back to the well. Let's go back to Tampa Bay, Detroit. Let's do it. I can't muster any enthusiasm for Seattle. What do you guys want to do? You guys want to do a slide? Who do you guys want to slide? You guys want the Davis Maddox slide Evans to 100? Are they even giving us any Igbuka? Yeah, they don't have Igbuka up yet. Should we play like the JMO angle in this one since we played Laporta and Amon-Ra in the other? Like, what do we like? If you slide JMO, like if you take him to a 35-yard reception, that's 1.56. To get 1.56 on pure yards, like you take him to 80 yards for a 1.76. That seems good. What if we do that and, oh man, Goff throwing 2 pass TDs is at 0.77x. Slide JMO to 220. See, yeah, Jack, slide longest reception. I think I just like the yards a little bit more than the longest reception. That longest reception stuff can be brutal because yesterday on the cram, we did the Jordan Addison longest reception to 34.5, and he had one for 34 yards. He had an awesome game. He smashed his hires, would have smashed the yardage ones, but 34.5 is a big, big number for a reception. So I kind of just like having a couple cracks at it with JMO at 79.5. You guys like, there's a Baker rushing. Tesla longest reception. I feel like we did the Tesla thing a few weeks ago and it burned us. I kind of like, what about like a Gibbs longest play? Dude, wait, is this a free square? Is this a free square? Talk to me. Jahmyr Gibbs, game high rushing yards. Yes. His competition is Rachaad White. Who's running for more yards than Jahmyr Gibbs in this game? Tell me that I didn't just find a glitch in the matrix. Am I missing something, chat? Am I missing anything? How is Jahmyr Gibbs not a lock to lead this game in rushing yards? You guys think David Montgomery is going to rush for more yards than Jahmyr Gibbs? Guys, I know David Montgomery exists. You think David Montgomery is rushing for more yards than Jahmyr Gibbs? Let's see where if we're being reasonable or not. Let's look at a little comparison tool here. So rush attempts, Gibbs 53% to Montgomery's 39%. 62% of the snaps to 39%. The thing with this thing is like the Montgomery vulture stuff around the goal line, you see inside the 5 rushing attempts, Montgomery's higher. But for this prop, we don't care about that. We're talking about total rushing stuff. Guys, but if you say Bucs D is pretty good against the run, that also applies to David Montgomery, and the Lions are good against the run. I'm sorry, guys, you can't talk me off of this one. If anyone comes with good empirical evidence, but I have yet to hear it. Of course, this is plausible. Devin says DMont runs for like 60, Gibbs runs for like 50, but there is nothing in their usage that indicates that David Montgomery is going to rush. He's starting with like a 4 to 5 touch, and I'm talking carry, a 4 to 5 carry deficit to David Montgomery. Thank you, Kyle. DK has Gibbs minus 105, White 195, Monty 230. All right. So I'm not crazy on this one. All right. You guys can sub this one out. I like this one. All right. What are we going to do? Are we going to do the Evans slide here? Guys, you're missing the point. You can't tell me David Montgomery is the way that Gibbs loses and then also say, aren't the Lions missing O-linemen? David Montgomery runs behind the same offensive line. We are grading this on the curve of David Montgomery and Rachaad White. You guys are killing me. Otten yards, longest reception looks good. See, the thing with the Otten stuff is like the Otten stuff can look really bad if both Evans and Igbuka are in. I don't really want to play into to that. Now we're at the point of the show we're saying the O-line blocks better for DMont. That's what I know we've unraveled into madness. All right, do we like the Evans stuff, guys? I mean, 62.5 yards is a big number. All right, let's take a look at this. Nick has been pounding the drum for Baker rushing. So 19.5 rush yards. He's been at 14, 15, 13. The 2 weeks previous to that were Jets and Houston. He was at 44 and 33. You guys like the Baker scrambling? Stop it. Baker to lead the game in rushing. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm personally a little spooked on the Evans numbers. The Evans numbers look pretty fat to me. I do think if you're going to play it, slide it, but I don't know if I like the median stuff. I mean, having Baker in this though is very fun. You guys like the Baker rushing yards, or do you see something else? All right, how about this? Nick has been adamant about these rushing yards, so let's put Baker in here. And then, wait, they're not going to let me? Your Gibbs? Wait, why aren't they going to let me do this? Remove Baker Mayfield to unlock this pick. Wow. Why would they not let me do that? I understand if I did Baker Mayfield lower rushing yards because you're basically removing one of the threats to Jahmyr Gibbs. But if I have higher Baker, that should be negatively correlated with Gibbs to lead the game in rushing yards. Why? I don't understand that. They must have a blanket rule that game high rushing yards can't go with any other rushing yards prompts, but it shouldn't matter if it's negatively correlated. All right, guys, back to the drawing board. This Jahmyr Gibbs rushing game high rushing yards has caused us so much turmoil. Oh my goodness. Should we go back to the Rachaad White stuff? We need a Bucs for this. We got our Lions. We have our slide on Jameson. We have our lock of the century in Jahmyr Gibbs to lead this game in rushing. I am committed to Gibbs. No, Gibbs is not coming out. You guys can do whatever the hell you want with your pick-up entries, but Jahmyr Gibbs is not coming out of this. We need a Mike Evans, though, or we need a Bucs. Do you guys just want to say Big Mike scores a tutty? I mean, it's even money. Can someone give me a stone cold lock that doesn't involve Baker Mayfield rushing in the chat? I need it. I need it. There's some pull fear for Evans slide. White first half receiving yards. Yeah, what is Rachaad White TD? 1.05. What's the team total for the Bucs tonight? The Bucs team total is 23.75. See, guys, I just don't like going with the Tez and the Shepard and the Ott and stuff that to me feels really dependent on Ibuka being out. Why don't we do we just want to play? We don't have Rachaad White fantasy points. Should we just go back? Guy, we're all over the board here. Barter TD. We have already X'd out that game. We have collectively, as a host in a chat, decided to self-exclude from building a pick'em from that game. Guys, I need you to stay on track. We need a Tampa Bay Bucs selection here. Guys, stay on track. I am begging you. I am absolutely begging you. Is this a real one? Baker over 25 plus passing yards in each quarter. Is that a thing? That seems like both very attainable and also a pretty fun sweat. What do we think about that? 25 plus passing yards in each quarter for Baker Mayfield. Okay, Super Dave, you got to go wind back the tape. We can't do anything with rushing TDs. You got to wind it back. You got to wind it back. What do you guys think about this Devin selection? Baker Mayfield throwing for 25 pass yards in each quarter. Lower on Sterling Shepard yards. Like now you're starting to talk, speak to me here. Feels like a trap. I don't know. It does feel like a trap. I'll give that to you, Pikachu. It feels, this entire pick'em entry feels like a trap. Everything about it is a trap. and I'm doing it. I also can't discuss this anymore. This has been such a process. I'm getting in my boost. I'm making my bet, and I'm done. This is it. This is what we decided on. And by we, I'm using that very loosely. Jamison Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, Baker Mayfield. Jamison Williams slide to higher than 79.5 receiving yards. Jahmyr Gibbs, game high rushing yards. The amount of pushback. I feel like there was one of you out of like 30 in the chat. You all hated this. We had Bash in there giving us the lines. He's the favorite by a long shot for this. Why are we so concerned about Jahmyr Gibbs to lead this game in rushing yards? Baker Mayfield. This is the funny. I didn't even know Underdog offered this. Yes, 0.5, 25 plus pass yards in each quarter. I'm going to have to tell my college buddies about this one. This is an elite group sweat pick 'em. 25 plus pass yards in each quarter. Did I drop this in the chat? I can't remember. I've gotten so fired up over this pick 'em. Please don't at me if Jahmyr Gibbs gets outrushed by Baker Mayfield. Okay, let's do a first look here. Week 8, first look, and then we will. And then I'm going to go to the bathroom. Is what I'm going to do. Do we not? I don't think we have the big BR up yet. I can refresh just in case. All right, we're going to do the playbook. It's all we got right now. We are going to be the Trailblazers, hacking through the forest, paving the way for our future explorers in the BR streets, setting the ADP. I think D. Owen said Bijan wasn't 101. Fake news. He's 101, 1.4 here. Jonathan Taylor, CMC. All right, we're back to a good round 1 slate. I thought last week's round 1 was the weakest round 1 we've had all year. Bijan, JT, CMC, Achane, James Cook at running back. Very solid top 5. Wide receiver, Chase, Lamb, London, Nico, and then your Sutton. Ugh, that doesn't seem good. Oh, it's Sutton going against Dallas. Oh my God. Bo Nix is going to get jammed this week. Bo Nix is going to get jammed. You combine a 40 burger with the Dallas defense, that's going to be like moths to a flame. Tight end, Warren, Ferguson, Kittle, Goddard. All right, we're taking JT. I think that's, this top 3 is very nice. Very, very nice. Sean's exhausted with Dallas always on the main slate. We don't have Puka or JSN. Who are all of our week 8 buys this week? No Cardinals, so no McBride, no Lions, no Jags, no Raiders, no Rams, no Seahawks. The Bipocalypse. This week is often called the Bipocalypse. We start Jonathan Taylor. Let's didn't look at the rest of the quarterbacks. So we have Josh Allen. Lamar Jackson could be back. Jalen Hurts versus the Giants. That could be nice. Baker against the Saints. That's fun. Obviously, Bo Nix against Dallas. Dak versus Denver. Drake May home versus Cleveland. Jones versus Tennessee. Stroud versus San Francisco. Dart versus Philly. Penix versus Miami. Caleb at Baltimore. I mean, Baltimore's defense has been ass. Man, am I going to go back to the Caleb well? Brock Purdy, could we get him back versus Houston? I don't know why. Whenever I do these playbook drafts, they're the world's slowest drafts. I just imagine all of my competitors. It's like Monday at 12:14 p.m. Eastern. There's no projections, no injury reports, just frantically Googling every time they're on the clock. I need the full 30 seconds to make the best possible decision in the $5 playbook draft. Is Barkley just cooked? Is Barkley just absolutely cooked? I got some guys I want to take. I got some guys on. Let's do Drake London. I mean, obviously Bijan's going to eat, but I think there's room for Drake to pop off in the dome there. Look at Breece Hall. Yeah, Breece Hall versus the Bengals. I think I'm going to do Igbuka. I mean, where do you guys think the Igbuka ADP closes? He's certainly going to be higher than Sutton. Probably going to be higher than London. Don't you guys think Igbuka? I guess the Igbuka, some of the enthusiasm was with Mike Evans out. But I don't know. Igbuka versus New Orleans in the dome there. I think it was last week, the very first draft we did, we grabbed the CeeDee Lamb Q tag late. And that ended up being one of the huge ADP windfalls that you needed. It's funny, though, you didn't see there was no JT, CeeDee Lamb. Let me actually look at that. Now I'm actually curious by that. Oh, I think you guys were talking earlier that AWS is down. Is that why all these apps are struggling right now, these sites? There's an outage with Amazon Web Services. Is that why I can't? Oh, it's not. It's because I was going to bbmdb.com instead of .app, right? Where am I? Or is his site down too? Seems like everything's down. I have too many tabs open. Yeah, I can't seem to get these sites to load. Must be that AWS thing. Must be. Man, Rome has been so disappointing. Back-to-back games with only 2 receptions. Targets have been okay, but pretty uninspiring. Yeah, this slate, despite the bye weeks, it looks stronger to me overall. I mean, the running backs go pretty deep. I mean, are people worried about Bucky back? I mean, why does Rachaad White have an ADP of 35.4? He's going to project better than so many of these guys. I wanted Kittle. I think Kittle is another guy who's going to move up. Man, yeah, there are a lot of nice options here this week. You go back to the Judkins thing. Don't love that game at New England. Breece Hall at Cincinnati. Is this the trust the projections play of the week? This is how you know you're a glutton for punishment. Back to Breece. Don't do it, Peter. Don't do it. Look, I'm going to get all my Breece exposure in the playbook. Jonathan Taylor, Breece Hall, Drake London, Emeka Igbuka. All right. I'll do the, you can do the Baker stack. We'll do the Baker to Igbuka, and then we'll just figure out our tight end. So here's who's left at tight end. Dalton Kincaid with the Q tag. Darren Waller. Kyle Pitts. We already have London, so we're not going to do him. Ingram versus Dallas. Ugh. Hunter Henry versus Cleveland. The Fannin bet versus New England. Mark Andrews. And then for some reason, Blake Whiteheart. Some of these early ADPs are funny. Every site, yeah, most of these sites feel like they were broken. I tried to go to my my newsletter. I guess, is this working? Yeah, I can't get on here. What other sites can you not get on? At least Underdog's still trucking. Yeah, I'm getting some pings in the Slack channel as well. Some of our content management stuff for Fantasy Life is also down. Seems like everything with AWS right now is completely borked. All right, as I make this last tight end selection, have the usual set of shows this week. Tomorrow we'll have the Swolecast at noon Eastern. Thursday, we're going to have the Battle Royale Bash and lulls, and what else? Oh yeah, the Fantasy Life DFS Jam at noon Eastern. Friday, we have the trio of DFS shows, Block Party, Bully the Sims, and Off and On the Clock. After Dark Saturday nights. Sunday, the DFS Cram. Thanks again to everybody who was gifting memberships in here this morning, and all of you guys who had better than break-even days in DFS. We'll try to keep the momentum rolling in week 8 after getting off the schneid in week 7. Thanks to that third place in the fullback dive. Look at Chelsea here trying to replicate last week. Chelsea with the Tyler Warren, Dallas Goedert saying, what if 2 tight ends is what you need again? All right, I'll do Dalton Kincaid and push the plane. And if he's out, guess what? I'll swap to another tight end. All right, guys. Appreciate you all hanging out in the chat. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. I'll see you tomorrow for the Swolecast. Thank you to producer Mark Jameer Gibbs, leading rusher tonight. Book it.